What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for AEW on TNT Review for November the 17th, 2021. It's National Cowboy Shit Day in Norfolk, Virginia, as Adam Hangman Page makes his first appearance since winning the AEW World Championship from Kenny Omega last Saturday. Also tonight we had Bryan Danielson versus Evil Uno, which when I first saw that match on the card, I was like, that just seems out of place, but it makes sense with what happens early on in the show. Also, we had Jay Lethal main event against Sammy Guevara for the TNT title in his debut in the TNT Open Challenge. Plus, Orange Cassidy in the debuting Tomohiro Ishii for Take on the Butcher and the Blade. Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose face off against each other in the TBS tournament second round. And the Acclaimed take on Dante Martin and Leo Rush. All that and more. Now, before we got to the celebration, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole are backstage. Omega says he hasn't watched the match back. And the Elite came up short on Saturday as well. He says he's got to go get some things fixed, but he can do it. But he can't do it here. He asked the group to hold down the fort. Adam Cole speaks up and says, "Don't worry, Cleaner. I got this while you're gone." Omega has a little smirk. He's like, "I was talking about the Bucks," which Cole, you could just tell he is not happy with the fact that Kenny Omega is pretty much just downplaying him. He's going to be the guy running things for the Elite, for the Super Click. I'm really surprised we didn't go with with them beating down Kenny Omega and just letting him walk off into the sunset for now. Go get his surgery. We won't see Kenny Omega till probably at the earliest Double or Nothing. Torn labrum, multiple fucking shoulder injuries, neck injury. So many different things. This guy we will not see for a very long time. He might not even see Kenny Omega till All Out. So he's gone, and it's down to the Bucks and Adam Cole. More on them later, but I'm really surprised they didn't just have them beat him up, kick him out of the Elite, and go from there. But nah. So we go out to the ring, and John Silver and the Dark Order there, and he's like, "It's National Cowboy Shit Day." Welcomes Hangman Adam Page. The champion makes his way out to the ring, talks with the group. He takes the mic. The crowd says, "You deserve it." He says, "No. I have to stop you right there because I don't deserve this. I damn well earned this." Which I love when somebody says that. You don't deserve shit in life. Nobody deserves anything in life. You earn the shit that you get. And Hangman Page coming out there and be like, "I didn't deserve this. I earned this," is definitely something that I'm glad that he said. The crowd then starts chanting, "You earned it. You earned it." Page says typically he'd be on the shy side of things, but now that he's champ, he'll do whatever he wants. He's still with a boss to answer, but that boss is you guys. He wanted to stand in the ring and celebrate the day with the crowd. He knows titles carry a lot of responsibility, and that comes in the form of Bryan Danielson. Say his name, and he shall come out, and Bryan Danielson makes his way out. He claps up the Page, and on his way to the ring, he takes the mic and says he has one thing to say: congratulations. He shakes his hand. He said he's super excited for the match because it won't lie. He says he won't lie. He wishes it was Omega standing across the ring from him. Page says, "Well, that's too bad. He beat Omega and did it in under 30 minutes. Danielson says he doesn't want to talk trash, though. Even though he does talk trash, Danielson says when he wins titles, he wrestles, not flap his gums. He recalls when he won the title, he wrestled the next day. Crowd boos him, of course. Virginia boos hard work, he says. He shoots back. Page says he doesn't see any reason why they couldn't do it tonight. Danielson says, "Yeah, I'd normally be up for that. But he doesn't want to compete because I'm here in my wrestling gear. You're here in jeans and cowboy boots and some shitty ass getup. So I don't want to beat you tonight when you have the excuse that you're not ready." Even though he's not in his ring gear, but of course his ring gear is probably just backstage, and it would be the main event over the TNT Championship. Page offers to fight anyway and gets in his face. Dark Order separate the two. Danielson talks to him some more about his little friend stopping them. The fans say let them fight. Danielson said they know I'd kick his ass, so they ain't going to let him go. He does get away from the Dark Order for a second. He starts fighting with Danielson. Danielson gets out of the ring. The Dark Order take him back. And we go to commercial break. We come back, and it's Evil Uno versus Bryan Danielson. Now, I'm not the only one who thinks this. Everyone expected, this is just going to be a babyface versus babyface confrontation with Adam Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson. But boy, were we wrong, and thankfully we were. If anybody can work the fans into being a heel for this feud, it's Bryan Danielson. This gives me Shawn Michaels 2005 type of vibe when it comes to he's going to be a heel for this entire run between now and the title match. When the title match is over, Hangman wins, of course. They're going to shake hands. He's going to go back to being a babyface. That's where this is going. What happens with Bryan Danielson after that? Who's to say? I know everyone wants to see that rematch with him and Kenny Omega. That's going to be a long ways off, depending on how long it takes for Kenny Omega to come back from his injuries and everything. So, Bryan Danielson versus Evil Uno. This match, again, it just felt out of place. Like, it didn't make any sense. But Hangman, of course, is champion. Evil Uno is his friend. Danielson has to be a little bit more heelish right now. There's some back and forth action early on as Uno is able to get some momentum, and Danielson puts Uno down and beats him up in the corner. There was a couple slaps to each other. Of course, when Uno slapped Danielson did not take too kindly to that. Actually hit him some hard, he peppered him and said, "You want to disrespect me? You want to disrespect me?" Now, Danielson gets the knees. Danielson with a running knee to drop Uno. Multiple stomps to Uno's face. He goes for the triangle sleeper on Uno, and Uno was already out. Ref calls it. Bryan Danielson wins by stoppage. Nice little opener. Bryan Danielson. God damn it, why is it so hard to differentiate Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson? Nobody calls John Moxley Dean Ambrose, but of course I guess they're not close to being the same names. Anyway. Tony Schiavone comes in with the mic and talks to Bryan Danielson after the match. Crowd's booing him. Tony asks if things being tense between him and Page. He says he wanted to congratulate Page, but because of his behavior, he kicked Uno's head in. And he said, you know what? Until this match happens between me and Hangman Page, I am going to kick the head in of every member of the Dark Order. And next week, we're in Chicago. There is a member of the Dark Order who is from Chicago. So Colt Cabana, he didn't say if you had the stones. He's like, if you have the nuts, you're going to get your head kicked in next week. So Colt Cabana and Bryan Danielson will be part of AEW Thanksgiving next Wednesday night. Last Saturday, MJF said there was all he hears is how great pro wrestlers all over the wrestling are in AEW, from Danielson to Punk to Kingston to Darby Allin. And he says all people think he can do is talk, but screw that. I can go bell to bell with the best of them. He says while fans hate this my guts, they have to admit just how damn good I am. He says he knows what's next, as does the title gesture around his waist, because we all know the next thing he wants to do is wrestle for the AEW World Championship. But you want to push that back as far as you can. Paige is going to have a nice little title run. It's not going to be that long, in my opinion. Like, Hangman Page winning the championship is fine. Absolutely needed to be paid off good. Him holding the title for about a year? No. Him holding the title 6 months? Probably not. I can see him having a 3-4 month title reign and then losing it to MJF. Honestly. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have him be the guy who goes and then ends up losing to MJF. And having probably the shortest title reign for now in AEW's history. Somewhere else backstage, Eddie Kingston is going to an interview when it's interrupted by 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. They talk trash, but he gets in Garcia's face and says, "You let two grown men call you son? I don't respect you for that. Stand on your own. Let's fight." They go into a quick scruffle, but the groove heads off. Kingston says he wants one interview that doesn't get interrupted. Just one. I'm going to catering. So eventually, Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia will have a match. If I'm correct, it was not made for Friday, and it was not made for next Wednesday, so I have no idea when that match is going to happen. The HFO's Butcher and the Blade versus Best Friends Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii, the new never open weight champion, and did bring the title with him. So that's fucking cool. Rocky Romero, of course, was out there too, representing Chaos. So, and can I say this was not the prettiest match of the night? For sure. This match was a little sloppy. It was a good match. I mean, when we had the scrums on Saturday, and somebody brought this up too, and of course, Bryan Danielson was pissed. Bryan Danielson said he doesn't get jealous that much, but he is jealous of the fact that Tomohiro Ishii is here tonight and he's not wrestling him. But this was the Butcher. The Butcher apparently, according to Tony Khan, has a dream match is the face Tomohiro Ishii. So this is killing two birds with one stone. Having the best friends, the Chaos Best Friends connection be used, and having Tomohiro Ishii and the Butcher square off with each other. Now, the match starts. Ishii starts the match. The Butcher is going to start, and okay, we're going to get that off the bat. Blade tags in, so have to wait for that. Now, Ishii starts out and has to be hit by the Blade. He takes shots and then drops his opponent. He ain't selling shit for these guys half the time, but that's why it's called the Stone Pitbull. He don't sell them nothing. In comes Cassidy with a weak splash, which Tomohiro tags him in, and he wants to do the throw him across the ring and do the double shoulder blocker to him, but Cassidy just doesn't do it. Then he does the weak ass splash. Does the devastating kicks to Blade after Blade goes and talks trash to Tomohiro. Devastating kicks the Blade and then leaps over him. Hands in his pocket. Blade out to the floor. Butcher drops Cassidy and then throws a shot at Ishii with a big shoulder block, which actually Ishii, it's a delayed reaction because he hits Ishii and then Ishii doesn't sell it, and then the referee says something, and then Ishii falls down and sells it. So I don't know if that was meant to be like that or what. So Ishii doesn't seem bothered by there was a fun. This was great. Ishii's in the match. The Butcher's in there. The Butcher's in there too. The Butcher has him in the corner and is just hitting him, slapping him. It looks like Ishii's going down. Looks like he's gonna take him down and drop him to his knees. He slaps him one too many times, and Ishii stops selling, and the crowd chants, "You fucked up," as Ishii is just walking the Butcher across the ring, just allowing him to slap him and punch him as he doesn't sell shit. That was fucking great. Cassidy ends up getting a Stung Dong Millionaire onto the Butcher. He ends up hitting a nice twisted DDT on the Blade for a 2 count. Looks for the orange punch. Butcher stops that. Ishii's still on the outside. They plant Cassidy to the mat. Cover. Ishii jumps in and stops it just in time. Drags Cassidy to the corner. Tags in. Fights off both opponents. Big chops the Butcher. Matt Hardy in the apron tells him to stop. Bunny now on the apron. Ishii with the German suplex on Butcher. Blade has the brass knuckles and is gonna go for the kill when Rocky Romero pulls him out. He's not the legal man, so it's not a thing. Hardy shoves Romero into the barricade. Cassidy with the crossbody on both Butcher on Blade and Hardy, taking them both down. Ishii with the huge ass lariat. Blade got thrown back in, got hit with the huge lariat from Ishii, which that didn't look like that was any fun. Big, huge, stalling brainbuster. 1, 2, 3. Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii win the match. Good stuff. It wasn't a pretty match. It was a fun match. I still don't know why this is still going on. Is this the best you can have for the Best Friends? I'm tired of the Matt Hardy HFO Best Friends rivalry. Move on already. Give me something else. The biggest question when it comes to Chaos, Tomohiro Ishii, and All in New Japan is, when is Kazuchika Okada coming in? This was more of Ishii speed. This is definitely what you would bring him in for, something like this. Okada's going to be for a Bryan Danielson, a CM Punk. Kenny Omega's going to be gone for a while. Maybe even a Jon Moxley when Jon Moxley comes back. I don't know. But that's the $1 million question for this Forbidden Door. When does Okada come in? Backstage, Tony talks with FTR and Andrade. Tony asked Andrade about his loss at Full Gear. Andrade didn't appreciate the question. He said he's beaten Cody and Pac clean, showing he's a better wrestler than both of them. He will now show them his bad side. FTR says they've been robbed by the Lucha Bros because the one guy wasn't a legal man, and they're going to waive their group fee for a match next week, an 8-man tag match with FTR, with Andrade and Malachi versus the Lucha Bros, Cody, and Pac. So it's Death Triangle and Cody versus these guys. And Tully then chimes in and tells Arn, you want to get in our business. I'm not like Jose. I still got one left in me. Which Arn should not be wrestling a match, period. Backstage somewhere else, the Faker has to come on and with her more of her bullshit. I'm tired. She says she's getting tired of carrying the women's division. I'm sorry, the women's division is tired of carrying your ass. You fucking suck. You're going to fucking suck until the day you are done wrestling. Like, once we get to the finals, which is going to be this TBS tournament, it's going to be Thunder Rosa. It should be Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho. No, any other combination is a damn near disappointment. Outside of maybe Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa, but then of course everyone expects Thunder Rosa to win. No. Thunder Rosa needs to get a title shot against the Faker ASAP. Get this title off of her and getting on somebody who can actually make the women's division better. The Faker hasn't been carrying this women's division. The women's division has been carrying her ass. It's not even close. Speaking of the TBS tournament, Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida, for the millionth time in their career. Now, I hate when we had this on Saturday too. They let you know that Nyla Rose has never beaten Hikaru Shida in her AEW career. Saturday, Bryan Danielson said going into Saturday, he's like, I never beat Miro in my career. Kind of gives away who's winning the match. Now, the biggest story of this match is Hikaru Shida's knee. If you remember, after her match with Serena Deeb beat the lowly hell out of her knee, and people in the commentary question, is Shida even going to be able to wrestle on this show? Of course, and continue in the tournament. Of course, that happened because it was weeks later. It wasn't like it was Shida versus Deeb, and then the next week Shida versus Rose. It took them about a month since in between matches almost. But Vicky Guerrero, of course, somehow had a hold of a kendo stick the entire time. She was helping attack Hikaru Shida over the entirety of this match. The match came to an end with, we come back from a commercial break, and Serena Deeb comes out of nowhere, attacks Shida's knee. So she puts Shida back on the apron, and she runs away, so Nyla Rose could pick the bones of a down Hikaru Shida. Rose does the knee off the top rope. That doesn't seal the deal. Shida continues to fight. Shida even moves out of the way of a senton off the top rope, or off the middle rope, whichever one it was. And it looks like she might pick up the win that way. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. She goes for what they call the kendo stick, which is her spinning kick. Nyla Rose catches that on the bad knee, puts her in the stretch muffler. Shida has no choice but to tap out, and Nyla Rose is the first one to move on to the next round, where she will promptly lose to Ruby Soho. MJF, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears come out. He doesn't want to talk because the crowd keeps talking. Spears tries to get them to shut up. Doesn't have much luck. He takes it back and says, Norfolk, Virginia. Gives his best thing there. He says earlier he is easily the most complete professional wrestler on the planet. Says he could send their hometown horse straight to the glue factory and can take a cowboy shit all over his title reign. Again, teasing a match with Hangman Adam Page. He did this a couple weeks ago, mentioning how in the first ever Diamond Ring, the first match to determine the Diamond Ring, who won the Diamond Ring in 2019, he beat Adam Hangman Page. They're teasing it. It's going to happen eventually. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but it's going to happen, and this is just AEW planting those seeds. So when it gets time for Hangman Page to lose that championship, you know who he's losing it to. He says, the rankings won't tell the whole story that I should be the next AEW champion, and there is nobody on my level. Cue cult of personality. Out comes CM Punk. Crowd is losing it. Yeah, those boos only lasted for a couple days, by the way. Here comes the ring. MJF goes to talk. The crowd says, shut the fuck up. MJF extends his hand and says, Maxwell? Punk just looks at his hand, has a little chuckle, and then leaves. Leaving MJF hanging. MJF, we go back, we see Punk leaving. MJF's back in the ring, hand still out, what the fuck? That is storytelling, ladies and gentlemen. CM Punk didn't have to say a word. We all know where this is going, when this match is going to happen. This is pay-per-view, man. The only problem I have with this is that AEW doesn't have a pay-per-view till February at the earliest. CM Punk versus MJF is pay-per-view quality stuff right here. This should be, and the thing about this is that MJF's not just going to give a match to CM Punk. He's got to go through Wardlow, and he should have to go through Wardlow and Shawn Spears. I know the Shawn Spears match will be, maybe a few minutes, beats his ass. But then he has to struggle to get through Wardlow to be able to get to MJF. That's where that should be going. You know what's interesting is we have one more episode we have next week's the Thanksgiving edition and one in December. They did not do a Battle Royal this year in November for the Diamond Ring. I guess we're just over that, and that was just a 2-year thing they were doing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very excited to see where they go with this. The fact that CM Punk just came out, looked he pretty much just sized him up, looked him over, gave him a look over, and just laughed and said, yeah, you think you're only, nobody's on your level? I'll show you that when we get to it. So, they got time. They got a lot of time. Like I said, Revolution feels like this would be a time for MJF and CM Punk. We don't want to do it before then. They can find things to do for CM Punk and MJF. Again, Wardlow versus CM Punk should happen first. Shawn Spears before CM Punk should happen first. Maybe CM Punk versus Dax Harwood should happen as well, because Dax is really good in a one-on-one setting. I don't know about Cash Wheeler. But hell, maybe just have him go through all 4 other members of the Pinnacle on not 4 weeks in a row. 4 weeks, 4 matches over time. Lead us up to Revolution and get a CM Punk versus MJF at Revolution. That's a pay-per-view match there. And then CM Punk, the first person to beat CM Punk best be MJF. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. And then after that, we get the MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Hangman's got Bryan Danielson probably on January 8th, unless they do something in December. Don't know that yet. Then you have Revolution, which they can find anybody to take on Hangman Adam Page at Revolution. And then you get to see him. You get to MJF at Double or Nothing, and that's with Hangman Adam Page will fall for the AEW Championship. Tony Schiavone is backstage with Darby Allin. Tony Schiavone is all over the place interviewing people this week. Talked to Darby about his match with MJF possibly being the match of the night. It was up there, definitely. I don't know. The first 3 matches, the main event, are definitely 4 matches that you can argue about being match of the night. It says Max didn't break him mentally, but they will have a rematch at some point. He isn't taking time off and wants the biggest and baddest. Billy in the Gun Club come up. He says, well, I just couldn't help but hear coming by. And says, if that's what you're looking for, I'm right here. They head off. Of course, the other guns make fun of Darby. And Darby says, screw it. Let's do it. So that's going to happen on Friday. The Gun Club's Billy Gunn will take on Darby Allin. Backstage, Super Click are not in a good mood after losing last weekend. Cole says both Matt and Nick aren't cleared, but they are stronger than ever on Rampage. Cole said it will be a Luchasaurus Jungle Boy versus himself and one of his best friends, Bobby Fish. Bobby enters the scene and says enough of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And he says one dresses up like Tarzan, the other one is a grown man dressing up like a dinosaur. We're going to put an end to this. And that and he's about to do the undisputed thing, and they cut him off, which was funny. Says you can't do that here, and that is that, which that was kind of funny. I mean, yeah, this is that's they're just gonna like beat it over your head that yeah, these guys win the Undisputed Era, and honestly, that was one of the coolest things in NXT ever. Dante Martin and Lio Rush versus the Acclaim tag team tag team match here that was made pretty much since from the buy-in last weekend where Dante Martin came out. Everybody's trying to recruit Dante Martin for whatever reason. He's working with Leo. Team Taz won him. The Acclaim wanted him. He fought the Acclaim. The Acclaim aren't happy now, so they're going to have a match here. This is a damn good match here. Lio Rush just shows you that, like, every week, that he is a damn good fucking wrestler. Dante Martin is fucking Dante Martin. What can you say? The Acclaim hold their own, too. Like, Max and Bowens. Yeah. But in the end, the match ends with Martin hits the double springboard. I don't remember what they called it. Catches Bowen. Rush hits the man of the out. His frog splash, which I can't remember what he calls it. 1, 2, 3. Post match, these guys are celebrating. Team Taz make their way out. Taz gives a congrats to the team. He says people are uncomfortable about Team Trash trying to get Martin while Rush was away. Taz says Rush knows better than anyone that it's all business, nothing personal. They will wait, no biggie. Stark says they waited for Hobbs. It's been a year since Hobbs joined Team Taz, and yes, tomorrow will be 1 year. And yeah, like Hobbs made his debut in AEW on Dark in July of last year, and then all the way up to this time last year, he finally joined them. Stark says if Martin wants to join the group, it'll be a Hall of Fame career, or it'll be a mediocre one if he doesn't. I don't know where they're going to go with this, but obviously it looks like we're going to get a Will Hobbs, a Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks versus Martin and Lio Rush down the line. Unless this is how they're going to get Hook to have his first match and have these, like Ricky Starks and Hook take on these two. Who knows? Christian was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Christian says they're looking to the Super Click is looking for redemption on Friday. Unlikely. Jungle Boy says they can hit them with a chair and put them through tables. The scruff might be gone from his neck, his face, which he shaved himself, it looks like. But that rage is never going to leave my heart. And they are better, stronger now than ever before. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Darby Allin versus Billy Gunn. And Red Velvet versus Jade Cargill in the TBS Women's Title Tournament. Don't care about this match. As soon as this match is over, let's move on to see who Thunder Rosa is going to be facing in the next round. Next week, it's going to be Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. Bryan Danielson versus Colt Cabana. Cody Rhodes Pack and Lucius Rhodes versus Malachi Black, FTR, and Andrade El Idolo. AEW World Tag Team Champions Lucha Bros tell FTR to stop crying, and they have tried to cheat so many times before. This time around, they just bested FTR. Next week, they'll have something special at FTR because they are the best four-man team in the universe. Okay then. Sammy Guevara versus Jay Lethal TNT Championship. This was a good match. This was an awesome debut. Tony Nese was shown in the crowd again for some reason. I don't know where they're going with that. So, this was great. Like, Jay Lethal, I've been a fan of Jay Lethal for about 20 years almost. No, not 20 years, I'm sorry. 17 years, something like that. 2005. So I'm going to say about 16 years I've been a fan of Jay Lethal. Seen him since his days in TNA. His early run, his Black Machismo gimmick. The shit that he does. Like when WCPW, that old wrestling fed, that independent promotion that was in the UK for about 3 years got started up. They brought Jay Lethal in. He was the biggest reason why I watched that first set of tapings to see all these guys from the UK. He helped build that brand for the first year, and here he is now in AEW. I can't wait to see what he does past this match, but this was a hell of a debut. Now, of course, the story in this match is Sammy's ribs. As we know, Sammy Guevara was in a brutal match on Saturday in that street fight. Minneapolis street fight with the American Top Team and the Inner Circle. And it was a match then, but yeah. Taped up ribs. Anything that he does on his ribs, it hurts. Jay Lethal took a shot on that every single time he got a chance to. And these guys went out there and they gave you a damn good match. And there were a couple times it looked like Jay Lethal might have the winning combination to beat Sammy Guevara. I mean, hell, Sammy went for a GTH early, but that didn't work out for him. And like Sammy Guevara tries to go for a 450, I believe it was. 450 or a splash from the inside, from the top rope to the ring announcer's area where they have that table. He missed, of course. Sammy and Jay Lethal left. We went to commercial break. We came back, well, at least on my feed, and Sammy was arguing with the referee. The referee wanted to try and stop the match because Sammy's ribs were just completely compromised for this entire time. And he's like, no, I want to finish this match. He even says, fuck you, come on, fuck you. He's like pointing the double birds, telling Jay Lethal, fuck you, I'm finishing this damn match. Lethal was able to get a figure four, which got a huge woo chant. Sammy breaks it out and tries for the GTH, can't lift him. Big knee to Lethal. He gets a couple of running knees to him, cracks Lethal with a big running knee. Another one flips Lethal over. Goes for the GTH for the third and final time. Hits it. 1, 2, 3. Sammy Guevara retains the championship. Everyone else from the Inner Circle outside of Jake Hager come out to celebrate with Sammy, to help him out and to be all good with him. They all come out, they celebrate. Sammy gets up. Now, Sammy pinned him, and you could just tell he put his arm around over Jay Lethal and started saying something to him, probably thanking him for the match. It was an honor to be able to wrestle you, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But this was good. This was a great debut for Jay Lethal. And again, with the fact that they were playing up the rim injuries so much, there was a part of me that was like, they're going to give Jay Lethal the championship. That would have been like a huge thing. It would have probably been not the smartest idea, and they didn't go that way, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Jay Lethal would have pulled off a win somehow, some way, with the fact that they were playing up so much that Sammy Guevara's ribs were so fucked up. So they shake hands. Jericho says some words to Jay Lethal. I think Jay Lethal actually does want a match. I believe I heard that during the scrum. He wants a match with Chris Jericho, so that could be something we see down the line. Overall, tonight was a good post pay-per-view show. Definitely one of the better ones for sure. Damn good title match at the end. Bryan Danielson turning heel-ish for now. He's not full-blown heel. We're not getting the savior of the world, Daniel Bryan that we got in WWE in 2019 or 2018, 2019. But he's going to be heel for this, and it's going to help Adam Hangman Page in the end. So definitely a good show tonight. Can't wait to see what happens next week. Rampage, of course, is this Friday. It's an okay show this Friday. Darby versus Billy, the women's TBS title tournament, in a match I really could care less about. And Adam Cole and Bobby Fish teaming up again for the first time since they both joined AEW. But that is your AEW on TNT Review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, go dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club, find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance Club, and find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. It is the go-home show for Survivor Series. Let's see how much WWE botches Friday. Till then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.